Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Hari. There's two reasons why they are getting smaller today. Either because it's too cold, or because there's a big Indian celebration today.
Today 26 Republic Day.
Today is a Republic Day, right? No? You know, no idea. It is, but nobody's celebrating. You didn't look at the YouTube at the demonstration of the parade of the... No? We were watching few minutes in the office. It was such a nice thing to compare. In our country, we don't have such a amazing marching abilities. Our people just, our guys, army guys, just hardly moving like this, you know. Different mode of nature, I would say. Definitely, that's for sure. Okay, we are getting to the final stage of Bhagavad Gita today. Few days ago, some of you were there, and we started 18th chapter. Who knows the name of 18th chapter? Summary? Is it called summary? Conclusion. Perfection of renunciation. Yeah, almost there. So, renunciation is also the subject of today's topic. Tyag. So 18, number 4. And we'll chant together first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nishchayam shinu me tatra. Nishchayam shinu me tatra. Tyage Bharata Sattama. Tyage Bharata Sattama. Tyagopi Purusha Vyagra. Tyagopi Purusha Vyagra. Trividha Samprakirtita. Trividha Samprakirtita. Nishayam Shinu Tatra. Tyage Bharata Sattama. Tyago hi Purusha Vyagra. Trividha Samprakirtita.
Nischayam hi srinu me tatra.
Nischayam shinu me tatra.
Yage bharata sattama.
Yage Bharata Sattama.
Yago hi purusha vyakra. Vidha samprakirtitaha.
Praškešm lekcija.
Nischayam srinu me tatra. Yage bharata sattama. Vyakra. Vidha samprakirtitaha.
What? Sound disappear? The garland is covering up. I think we should take it up. Marajis?
Nischayam srinu me tatra.
Tyage bharata sattama.
Yage bharata sattama.
Tyago hi purusha vyagra.
Yagopi Purusha Vyagra.
Trividha samprakirtita.
Trividha Samprakirtita. Word for word meaning. Nishchayam. Certainly. Shrinu. Hear. Me. From me. Tatra. Therein. Tyage. In a matter of renunciation. Bharata Sattama. O best of Bharatas. Tyaga. Renunciation. He. Certainly. Purusha Vyagra. A tiger among human beings. Trividha. Of three kinds. Samprakirtita is declared. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O best of the Bharatas. Now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among man, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Purport. Although there are different opinions about renunciation, here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, gives his judgment, which should be taken as a final. After all, the Vedas are different laws given by the Lord. Here, the Lord is personally present, and his words should be taken as final. The Lord says that the process of renunciation should be considered in the terms of modes of material nature in which it is performed. Aham-agyanatimirandasya gyananjana-shalakaya chakshuranmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-manovistam sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. It would be almost wrong if we would just stop on that. There is renunciation in 3 types. And all class we will not mention a single time what of these 3 types are. Of course, this is a little bit few steps ahead, but classical way how many of acharyas do that, and for example, especially Krishnadas Kaviraj, when he was talking on Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was quite old, and he was not sure he's going to finish the book. So therefore, in the beginning, he said, this is what I'm going to talk about. And then he was explaining chapter, and then at the end he said, oh, this was what I was talking about. So actually repeating 3 times. Here also the situation is a little bit pushing. If we remember that the Bhagavad Gita was taught in the middle of Kurukshetra, right? And people were waiting for that. Both sides were ready and blowing in conchos and like already, all the, if the cars would be like, brum, 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 no, but there was horses like going with the hands, going, elephants screaming, and everything was trying to just now, okay, it's going to start now. No, wait. And Bhagavad Gita is coming up, It's all built up, It's like a big festival here also. We wait, and they're like, okay, we wait, and the DD is not open, and okay, let's do Guru Puja first, then we open, and then Guru Puja Prabhupada finish, and then we open a big celebration. This is big reveal. So Bhagavad Gita is big reveal, and big reveal is coming close to end because the whole thing was problematic for Arjuna. He wanted to renounce. He was trained all his life, shooting even nighttime. Remember how he was deciding to shoot at night? One time he was eating, it was dark. The training was finished and he was tired and it was completely dark and he was eating in the dark and he realized, if I can eat in the dark and put my food in my mouth, why cannot I shoot in the dark? Right? So even nowadays there is this Japanese competition. These big bows, almost 3 meters. You pull it like that and you get the aim. And what they do then, they switch off the light. For a few seconds, 3-4 seconds, they switch off the light, and then you shoot, and then they switch back the light. So if you hit the target, you are a master shooter. It's still going on nowadays. So big, proper Kshatriya type of fighters, they still do that kind of competitions. And in one stage, Arjuna was willing, said, no, I cannot. It's too much. I know I can win it. Krishna is here. We can win it. But just look at these people. How can I kill Bhishma? How can I kill? No. Even if I do everything, what's the point? I'll be victorious, but all my friends will be killed. So big decision have to be made. Anyways, Krishna gave him lots of instructions and so on. And one of the main instructions is, you don't renounce. You still do it. You're a Kshatriya, that's your nature, you have to do it. And if you don't do it, then your own nature will push it. He said, if you go to forest, what happens? You will see some holy people there sitting, and somebody will give donation, some food or something, and those sages will start to fight for the mangoes or for some donation, and you will start to fight with them and protect them, and so that's your nature to do it. It's your nature to do it. You cannot skip it. So everybody has the nature. Do we have nature? Everybody has nature? Pure nature or conditioned nature? Conditioned nature. So sure. Because if we would have a pure nature, no condition, there'd be no question. Because pure devotee, when he doesn't have any material motivation, material desires, he has no doubt. Nobody has to convince him. Nobody has to talk him Bhagavad Gita. You have to do your duty. He'll do it, He will be first up. He is waiting in the bed, until the alarm clocks go off. Not like he was sleeping and like pushing one time, pushing two times, pushing three times. No, he is sitting in the bed and waiting. Okay, 2-4 minutes, 1 minute. Okay, now alarm goes on, and he goes to the shower. So, proper inspiration. But until you have this inspiration, you may act in different ways. So therefore, Krishna is willing to explain that even renunciation, which is for some very, very useful. Brahmanas especially, they are known for being renounced. What they're renouncing? Any sample? What do you think? What Brahmanas renounce? Have you met any Brahmanas? Knowledge. They renounce knowledge. No, they're opposite. They learn the knowledge. So what they renounce? Anybody remembers Chanakya Pandit? Where he was living? Did he live in a king's palace? No. In order to give proper advice to the king, he had to be completely independent. So therefore, he was not staying in a palace. Not even in the vicinity of the city. He was sitting outside the city, outside the main gates and everything, all the guards, and he was clipping up completely outside, small hut, whatever he was having. I can't remember, but he was completely renounced from those so-called amenities, facilities of material life. Yeah. Proper Brahmana is like that. You know, story of Sudama Brahmana. All life he was so renounced. Kolavechas Vitara. All the proper Brahmanas, they are very much renounced. They are, well, not in so much in the Krishna Lila. Krishna Lila, all the Brahmanas are very fed up. Who is most famous Brahmana in Krishna Lila? So, Madhumangala, right? He's not very skinny. He's very properly built Brahmana. But here, Krishna is giving very important thing. And just have a glimpse of the future things. He's saying that there could be renunciation completely wrong. If you renounce something based on illusion, that's ignorance. Illusion, it means opposite knowledge. Completely opposite. If you have to do like this, you do opposite. That's ignorance. Maybe you renounce something which is not pleasant. Too cold bath, too much austerity, too much something. No, I renounce. How bodily comfort is not helped at all. So I renounce. That's in a passion. But in a good, in a sattvic gunic, what is proper renunciation? There's two things. Maybe somebody remember from previous classes somewhere. You renounce your attachment to the work itself. Because many times we, as a people, we are attached to the certain type of work because we like it. What's wrong with it? You like some work? You like to do something in your life? No, there's nothing you like. You do everything as your duty. It's a question. You have something you like to do, or you're already doing everything as a duty? So if you do as a duty, he is proper in a sattva guna. He's not attached. He doesn't have I like this, I don't like it. If devotee comes to him, he will do anything. That's proper Brahmana. But still we are attached to something. We like something better. And if you choose out of two free activities, we will choose this one. Because I'm familiar, I've been trained up, In old days, probably 200, 300 years, nobody was teaching Brahmanas to work in the computers. But because I have some training, I was working in that area, I feel comfortable. And if somebody asks me, can you fix this? What's something not working? Can I bring you a computer? Yeah, sure, come. Or phone or something like that. But somebody say, okay, can you fix a motorbike? And no, I cannot do that. Sorry. I cannot do it. So some things we can do. But if you attach to that activity too much, that's not goodness. And the second thing is, you are too attached to the results of the activity. That will also be not in a goodness. So if you have these both things, not attached to the process too much, and not attached too much to the result, that's renunciation in a goodness. So that's three things which Krishna will explain later. So it will be verses starting from 7, 8, and 9. 3 verses will be explaining that. So very important point in the purport Prabhupada is starting here, that there is different types of opinions. Although there is different opinions about renunciation, here is Supreme Lord. Half of the purport goes about explaining Krishna is here. And although the scripture, the Veda, is told by Krishna. You know some verse from Bhagavad Gita which confirms that Krishna is connected with Vedas? And last two verses? Last two lines? Vedantavit Veda Chaham. So I am told verses and I know myself the Vedas. So Acharya says, when he says I am the knower of the Vedas, means he may be know more than actually the Vedas themselves have told. We have only limited amount of scriptures, the Rig Veda so much, and the Yajur Veda so much. But if the person is one who knows those Vedas, he is so smart, maybe he knows more. Actually, Krishna knows more, there's no question. I'm not sure about Bhagavad Gita. When he was talking the Bhagavad Gita Sangha in the very beginning, it was 600 verses or more. I know definitely Srimad Bhagavatam has more verses. Now we have 18,000, right? So, when different times in different yugas, Srimad Bhagavatam told, it's much longer. Much more stories. They're ready to listen, not 7 days, but maybe 17 days, yeah, sure. So therefore, different versions are there. But if there's a person, original person, who is knower of the Vedas, who is a compiler of Vedas, standing exactly in front of you, there is no question. You have to be doubting what he is saying. So therefore, sometimes he says, Mataha, this is my opinion. Somebody say this, Shastras say that, some holy people, saints say something like this. But besides all this, this is my opinion. And this is very, very gradual movement to the personal relationship with person, to the Krishna. He says, okay, Shastra says that, this says that, so you choose. I'm just delivering you a message, right? It's like cook. You just imagine order some, restaurant, some nice things, and the person comes, well, can you suggest something? Oh, this is that. He doesn't even use the word nice or beautiful or tasty. Oh, this is that. It's boring. You're not going to choose any of preparations if the person who is suggesting, he's not, this is really nice, dal makhani is the best today, best in the whole, Vrindavan. You never find sweets better than Govardhan sweets, And really, you feel inspired because you want to be inspired, right? You want to be also in ecstasy by touching, by eating something. So same thing about knowledge. If somebody suggests you do this or this not, and he doesn't have his own opinion, it's neutral. That's super soul. Super soul means, whatever you do, allowing, you do something good, you get something good, Yeyatham prapadyante, as you surrender, I give you back. It's like almost marketing, You have so many rupees, so you can buy so much. You cannot buy jewelry twice as much as you have money. No. As much as good karma you have, you will receive something. So similar with knowledge, if somebody says, okay, this is that. But Krishna is always putting this thing. This is my opinion. I think this is best. So if you want to have a personal relationship, you even look for those places in Bhagavad Gita which it says, this is my opinion. So I give you homework. Find all the places in Bhagavad Gita which says, this is my opinion. So short glimpse. So yes, Vedaisha Sarvair, this I am This is 1515 or so, right? So also there is different principles of religion, it is said. And we have to understand, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, this is Madhya Lila 17:184. Prabhu kahe, Prabhu, Chaitanya said, Shruti smriti yata rishigana sabha eka mattahana binna binna dharma. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, the Vedas, Puranas and great learned sages are not always agreement with each other. Consequently, there is different religious principles. It's true. And Krishna confirms here, there is different types of renunciation. He doesn't say this is bad or this is not good. He just says these are different gunas. So we have to understand if there is different religious principles, they are meant for people who are on different level of advancement. And later on, Prabhupada says, yes, some sannyasi may say, I'm very renounced. I renounce money, I renounce women, so I have to do nothing with them. Prabhupada said, no, I am sannyasi. I'm making marriage ceremony to my disciples. Because they are on level of grihastha, they have to be married, I do that. I want to build some temple for Krishna, so if the money comes, I'm lucky, I'm counting, Money doesn't have a bad smell. Is it all for Krishna, Not like, I don't touch money, I don't touch money, I don't cook, Sannyasi, you're not supposed to cook. Yeah, that's the rule. For yourself. For Krishna, you can cook as much as you want. All day and night, no problem. Like for Jagannath, how many times? 56. Right? So all these things are important. Renouncing something is not very, very advisable. Currently, we also have a little bit of discussion. I don't know how much you have heard. After 25 years of discussion, different holy people in our movement cannot come to the final conclusion. Should we have women Vaishnava Diksha Gurus or not? Have you heard of that again? Again, like 5, 10 different videos coming up, all different senior devotees are putting up their YouTubes and so on. Do you think it is possible for you easily to decide which side to take? Or not? On the surface, very easy. We should follow GBC, right? Simple. Prabhupada said, GBC, the main thing, It's like Krishna. Different people say different things, but Krishna says this. Then, no doubt, we follow Krishna. So same way in ISKCON. If anything is saying different things, discussing yes, no, I agree, I don't agree, final conclusion of GBC is there, we follow it. But because they cannot decide, we also cannot decide, right? If the big GBC cannot decide, how we can decide? We talked about today's Bishnastami, right? So some question come up. How come he didn't protect Draupadi? Such a pure devotee, such a strong person, and he didn't rise up to protect Draupadi. How come? What was the answer today? Remember, somebody was in the morning class? No? Well, this is Krishna's arrangement. If there's such a high-level devotees, they sit together and they cannot come to the final conclusion, so some kind of Krishna's influence, Krishna's plan is coming up. So sometimes the bosses, the presidents or whatever, they can decide. So what it means? It makes us to come with our conclusion. It makes us more active. Come on, this is my opinion. Let's make petition. Let's make Ishtagoshti together and decide what is conclusion, what desire, what is our understanding of all devotees in a Vrindavan Yatra. It's helpful, But if you sit down and next video, no attitude. And that knowledge will not sit in your heart. Unless you have strong desire, understanding, and actually, enthusiasm to follow that path, you will not do it. So therefore, sometimes there is in conclusion, as Chaitanya says, Many times people come and go and different conclusions and nobody comes. But he gives very, very nice solution. Who knows the solution? There's two nice verses. His personal verse and then he quotes also from somewhere else. I'll read both of them. This is Madhya Lila 17 and 185. Dharma stapana hetu satur vyavahar puri goshani ye acharana se dharmasar. So the story was about Madhavendra Puri. So he was very advanced devotee, no doubt. Madhavendra Puri is who knows what his spiritual status is. He is desire tree. There's beautiful verse saying that in a courtyard of Krishna, Nandagram, there's different desire trees, but original desire tree is growing in a courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. So that's actually Madhavendra Puri. So he is a thing, and therefore there was an unusual case. He was dancing in ecstasy, and some other Brahmana, some lower caste, some dear Brahmana, he came, and he also started chanting and dancing in the same ecstasy, same mood. And Madhavendra Puri was kind of taken aback. He thought, nobody can actually dance if he doesn't have a blessing from proper source. So he didn't break anything. And even more, he went to eat with him and eat his house, which is probably not allowed. Anyways, and therefore whole discussion goes on that his behavior was ideal. So next verse is known. Tarko pratishta shrutavyo vibhinna nasha vrishi yasamattam na bhinnam dharmasya tattam nihitam guhyatam and mahajanayena gata sapantha. So this is the last verse which Prabhupada counted like so many times, that actual religious principles are in the heart of pure devotee. Of course, there is one more thing that only Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, that original religious principles can be established only by the Lord. But in the context of Bhishma Dev today, then Krishna promised, I'm not going to fight, and then he broke his promise. So, in some rare cases, Krishna is not followed, strictly talking. In a gopi environment, he's many times been chastised. How come? You're supposed to be a religious person, and you are. What do you do? Small boy, straight away, the first thing you do, you kill the woman. What kind of religious person you are? He was always, made jokes around and so on, but nobody made jokes about Radharani. She was always pure, always chaste. Nobody made jokes about her. About Krishna, yes. So therefore, prevent many things like that. He says, okay, I'm not going to say something or not. Who knows? Maybe some case come and I have to break my promise. So therefore, devotees, you Arjuna promise. So therefore, the main principle in the higher than the principle of Krishna saying something is that the true religion is lying in the heart of pure devotee. Yeah. Mahajanoyena pata. He gives a path, a proper path, a religious thing is built in the heart of a devotee. About this renunciation, interesting enough, there is different translations of the same word renunciation. Some say even Prabhupada have charity. Some say charity. What was else? Charity, renunciation. Something to do with good qualities as well. So this tyaga means also sannyas. Sannyas also is like almost similar to the sannyas. You know the difference between tyag and sannyas? Somebody has a little bit of idea? Some hint. Come on. Tyag is a process when you renounce. We talked about two things. You renounce attachment to the process of the work and you renounce the result. Tyagi or sannyasi is a person who already done that, who already finished, who already renounced the thing. He doesn't have to work, he doesn't have to renounce. He is already renounced. For him it is coming natural. He is natural. He doesn't have to endeavor. Sannyasi, proper sannyasi, he is already in that level when he is a teacher of every other caste and varna and ashrama. For him doesn't have to renounce. He is already on a high level. So that's important to understand. But besides a renunciation, then there is also, in our practice, there is another thing. We say yukta vairagya. You renounce something, but at the same time you yukta. Yukta means something to put together. So you renounce, but also you accept something. So therefore, the principle established by our Goswamis is that you accept those things which are favorable to Krishna, but renounce those things which are unfavorable. There is one beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. Prabhupada quite often also quoted this one. Translation is like that. My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees bring me under their control. And now goes what doesn't. I cannot be thus controlled by those who engage in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. Renunciation. So by renunciation, you cannot control Krishna. You can renounce anything, you cannot control. So sannyasi doesn't renounce because sannyasi doesn't think he has anything to renounce. When you say, I renounce this garland, so you think it was mine, right? It was lying here for 2 hours, and for 5 minutes it was on my neck. And I say, I renounce it. Because I think it's mine, right? Because it was 5 minutes on my neck, I think it's mine, so I can renounce it. But sannyasi never thinks it was mine. He was thinking, it's Prabhupada's. Krishna made flower, I didn't make a flower. Some Mataji has made the garland, some pujari offered. It's nothing to do. And somebody else put my neck. I didn't even put my neck. He put it in my neck. So nothing to do with me. So that's proper renunciation. You don't think there's anything to renounce because you think nothing belongs to you. So that's proper renunciation. So, but even those people who are such a renounced, that's not enough. So therefore, he says, my Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees bring me under their control. So other things like mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, renunciation, cannot do that. So those things have to be renounced sooner or later. Anything so far? Clicked here? What's the principle? What is your definition of renunciation? If I would ask you in the street, what is renunciation? What you would say? Come on. In your own language. No idea? If somebody asks in your class, your Glif class, what is renunciation? Exactly what I told you. Your belongings, but it is yours, you give it up. And according to your level of consciousness, you can give it up for different reasons. You can give it up something which is very, very stupid. You have children, you have a wife, and you come to the temple and you renounce all your money. And for next day before your salary comes, you and your wife and your children nothing to eat. Good renunciation? But you gave everything to Krishna. So, you have to make your mind. So that's why GBC cannot decide, because they say, okay, renounce, yes, renounce. Sannyasi says, renounce. And Gyasi said, no, don't renounce. And they are discussing for 25 years, cannot decide. Because different levels, Therefore, people with different consciousness, it's difficult for them come to one conclusion. But For a person who asks you a question, you look at him and you think, what's his level? What is him to be told? So it inspires him. So therefore this my opinion comes to the very important. And many times when devotees come to you and ask the question, they doesn't want a shastra. They don't want quoting Krishna's opinion or verses from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. They want to know what is your opinion. Because they want to find a person which is inspiring. This is the most important system in Krishna consciousness. When you go out, when you associate with devotees, you have to understand that your character, your behavior is the one which will be most helping other people to advance in the spiritual life. And if somebody comes, says, oh, how long have you been in Krishna conscious movement? How many years? 1 year, 5 years? Recent, like 1 month? Less than a year. You? 7 years. So if just imagine, the first question is, how long have you been in movement? 7 years. Wow! I remember I had this unusual experience. We were going on a cargo ship from Russia to Australia, 28 days. And we were stopping different places. Japan, Kobe, Yokohama, Nagoya, Singapore, and we went to Philippines. And for $20, we could take taxi and going around all day long, Manila, just sightseeing. And also we went, of course, Krishna temple there. And by the Krishna's arrangement, that was Sunday, and it was Sunday feast, And we came down, we were sitting, and then, for Asian people, especially sometimes Asian Matadis, it's difficult to decide what kind of age they are. So there was one woman sitting next to us, and also taking prasadam and stuff. We just started talking, And I was in movement, 3 years, 3.5 years. And discussing how long it would be, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm here 35 years, like you've seen Prabhupada, yes. Krishna, Govinda, there's such an amazing person sitting there, you cannot say, Maybe I even tried to preach to her, I can't remember. So, and if you meet such a person, you want to learn what is your experience of Krishna, what is your experience of deities, what you can tell about the certain person, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, all these early great devotees, what you can tell about. And they ask you, so what do you say about renunciation? And he couldn't say a single word. What do you think? What they're going to think, You have to be ready answering many, many, many questions. And sometimes this is one of the best ways to spiritually advance, answering questions of other devotees. Therefore, Krishna says, there is no better service, there is no bigger blessings than those who are bringing this science of Krishna to others. So therefore, if any one of you want to have a greatest blessing of Lord Chaitanya, please find a way. Once a day, answer one question, or once a week, give some 5-10 minute talk or something like that. So that will give you realization, because you will skip the next point, Shravanam, Kirtanam. Those things which you Kirtanam about, those things will stay in your Smaranam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. If you just listen to some verses of Bhagavad Gita, it's good. If you remember them, it's nice. That's your remembering. But if you want a Vijnana, a realization, you have to tell about them, Shravana Kirtanam, and then Smarana comes. So that's a basic principle of Krishna consciousness. That's why Prabhupada said, preach, 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 preach. Preach means reactive, this rocket engine, The more you give up, the faster you speed yourself, And if you do like, you're not flying. But if you really give it up and you preach and it comes out of you like a rocket engine, then you lift it up, And you go to the spiritual world to Krishna. So I beg you all, bless you all, Find a way, like you found the way already, you give a class. Straight away, I can bet you already feel the blessings coming from inside. The more you give out, the more coming from inside. So therefore, you can renounce things, even in the best way renouncing things, but that's not enough. Therefore, we have to understand, devotional service is something you do, something you accept, something you do. You can renounce material, you can renounce all material world. What happens when you renounce material world? Where you end up? In Brahmaloka, actually in a Brahman effulgence. Nothing to do, you're liberated, you renounce everything material. And where you float? In the rays of Krishna's body, which is called Brahma effulgence. What's the problem there? You don't surrender to everyone. You just feel spiritual bliss, being completely independent from anything material. But if you don't surrender to Krishna, there's a beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, those devotees thinking themselves to be liberated, but not caring to accept a shelter of your lotus feet, will definitely fall down again. Even demons, they do the same. They were killed also. They get liberation. Wow, such a blessing. Krishna killed some demon, he got liberation. Where they end up? In Brahmajyoti, in personal liberation, not personal liberation. So what happens when they in personal liberation? They're in a bliss. But in some stage, you get bored. Even by that spiritual bliss, you can get bored. So, what happens next? Because the last experience of the demon was Krishna killing him, so he remembers Krishna pastimes. So he takes birth in Krishna's pastimes again. Again gets killed, Until you get the blessing of devotee. When devotee gets your blessing, then you go on a spiritual path back. You skip all the liberations, and as Rupa Goswami explains in Nectar of Devotion, you don't care. Yamunacharya said, liberation stands on my door with a folded hands and waiting. Give me some seva. And I don't care. I have better things to do. I have Krishna Bhakti. So that's a big message of the Gita as well, that you have to peel off all these instructions about gunas and about liberations and find that jewel inside, that bhakti jewel. Actually, it's in every verse. We have to just find it. Questions? No?
Trividha samprakritita.
Yeah, right.
Trividha.
Last.
Yeah. I explained, this is coming up in the verses 8, 7, 8 and 9. These are three gunas. Renunciation, it just says, now I will tell you about three types of tyaga. And three types of tyaga will be first you will start with tamaguna, rajaguna and sattvaguna. Tamaguna, renouncing illusion, sattvaguna because of bodily discomfort, and sattvaguna renouncing the work and attachment to the results. That will be sattvaguna. So these are three types of trividha.
Different type of sannyas here. Some are tamaguna sannyas.
Right, tamaguna sannyas.
Sannyas, but sleeping all day.
Hopefully not in ISKCON. Hopefully ISKCON doesn't reward any tamaguna sannyasis. But, sorry to say, it's not first time. Our ISKCON history is like this. We know big gurus have fallen down. So we have to understand the Maya is strong. Even if your learner is up in very high level, you can fall down. Although somebody will fall down back to sattvaguna, like Prabhupada said about Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. Don't give him sannyas, don't give him sannyas. He will fall down. And Prabhupada said, well, where are you going to fall down? Back to sattvaguna? Where are you going to fall down? No? Right? You know that story. So, He's come from Sattva Guna, you know. Usually we fall back to our previous habits, you know. And if we are really coming from hippies and try to be happies, then something wrong goes, you'll go back to hippies, you know, unfortunately. So therefore this going up and down is very useful. As I mentioned already before, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this beautiful comparison. When you go to the guy who is making cloth, coloring, what he is doing? He makes special mixture, water with color, and he puts something more, some salt, maybe vinegar, some additional things which hold up the color into the cloth. Still, if you put it one time, it may be, you know, not exactly the same color will be everywhere. So therefore you put 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, you turn around, do like this, do like this. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this is our way how Krishna is making us pure devotees. He's putting us in the material world, pulling out, putting it back again, pulling out, you know, until our soul is evenly, nicely colored in devotional way. Anything else? We can finish? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.